Avoir.
All right, welcome back to another episode of FitPet Boston Talks. My name is Leah Lodato, and I am the host of the show. Today, I am joined by my spouse, Laurie.
Hello.
And good friend, Alex Thompson.
Hello.
Welcome back, Alex.
Yeah.
It's been a little while.
It has. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's
in
fun.
the home studio, nonetheless.
I know, right? You see where all of the magic happens.
Yeah.
It's a good setup.
It's magical. I saw him eyeing all your books.
I was taking a peek.
Yeah, those aren't even all of them. I saw that bag, Laurie, that somebody put in the garage.
Oh,
There's some very important books that need to be in here.
I was going to donate it to the library.
Are you kidding? The Art of Raising a Puppy is in there.
I think we know that. Do you think we know that?
I think by now, maybe, yeah.
I think we have a good grasp. But you never know. It might be some nuggets in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you are new to the podcast, thank you so much for your listening ear. It means the world to us that you have chosen to spend the next couple of moments listening to our voices. This podcast has historically interviewed local Boston area dog handling professionals like Alex, and we talk about our lives, dogs, and careers. And when I'm not doing that, Laurie and I sit down and do deep dives on related dog training or handling topics. So today, Alex came up and we did a little bit of healing. I hope I didn't traumatize you, Alex.
Not at all. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time I've taken lessons from you, and you're an incredible teacher.
Oh, thank you.
That was really good.
You hear that, Laurie?
Oh, amazing. Here I am just smiling on the side. Nobody can see.
No,
So,
it was perfect.
Yeah, tell us a little bit, Alex, about your new dog.
He is a Greater Swiss Mountain Dog. His name is Druid, about 8 months old now. Little firecracker, at least according, in my eyes, at least. My other dog is not. So he's just your run-of-the-mill adolescent jerk teenager right now. Just wants to do whatever the heck he wants to do, but been having a lot of fun with him. And I wanted to definitely get more into the obedience side. I know you two are very heavy on that and train a lot of that, so that's why I wanted to come up.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit as to why you chose the breed and how you went about researching the breeder?
So I saw my first Swissy, met my first Swissy years ago when I first got into the dog world before I really knew much of anything. And just straight away, I was like, that's a beautiful dog. And the daycare I was working at, I was like, what is that? And they told me about it. And we actually had a few of them there. And since then, I was like, damn, I just want to own one of those in the future without even knowing much about it. That was, God, I don't know, 2016, 17, something like that. And I always just kind of had it in my head. I'm like, I will own one of those someday.
Cool.
Whenever. And whenever I was deciding to find a breeder about it, I remember I posted something on my Instagram about them, and another trainer friend of mine was like, oh, there's actually a really good breeder here in Massachusetts, not too far from you. You should definitely check them out. I was thinking about getting a Swissy from them before I went for a Great Dane. And I was like, hell yeah. So I checked them out, Land's End in Assonet, I'm not really sure how to say it. Mass, tiny little town near Middleborough and everything. And they've been breeding for ever and ever and ever, essentially. Did my research, just kind of checked them out, followed them for a bit before I was like, okay, now it's time to get serious and fill out an application and all that. And just, that's kind of how it went.
Waited on a litter?
Yeah, a little bit. So I had to join the wait list. I had to go down there, fill out an application, had to go down there and meet them first before they even considered putting me on the wait list, which is all good signs, good things you want to see.
Oh, they wanted to meet you first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. I had to go down there and show face, shake hands, all that stuff. And I was happy to do that. Only 45 minutes from my house. So did that, went great. I went there with my list of questions that I literally didn't even ask one, because everything, when she was talking, I was like, well, all my questions are answered. So that's great. Along with their website as well, which answered any other questions I might have. But yeah, I got on the wait list. That was November, probably about a year ago. About a year ago is when I went down there and got on the wait list. And they were like, it might be a while. We don't put any guarantees on anything. We're just going to figure it out. And whoever, is on the next wait list, that's who's going to get the dog. We don't know when you're going to get one. I was like, fair enough. I can wait. That's fine. And I kept in contact with them just because I wanted to be like nice. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just be like, okay, I'll just talk to you in 2 years when you have my dog. So any question I might had, I would email them and just ask them, even if it seemed silly and dumb, just to be like, hey, still here, just so you know, like I'm interested and I want this. Fast forward to like March, I got an email from her and she was like, hey, we actually have a litter right now and one of the people backed out. Are you interested in checking out one of these dogs?
All right.
Yeah. I was in Missouri at the time and I texted my fiance and I was like, oh my God. I was like, what do we do? Because like we weren't really sure. We had just gotten engaged too. So we knew that was going to be a big like expense down the road, of course.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So I was like, what do we do? Do we want to go see him? I was like, if I go see him, I'm going to say yes, even if I have $0 into my name. Like, I was like,
you want to just go check it out?
Yeah. And I was like, we all know how that goes. And she was like, I think we should do it. And I was like, okay, like if you're saying yes, then fuck it, let's do it. So I was like, oh my God, like, can I give you an answer in like a couple of days? She was like, yeah, no problem. And we thought about it and everything. And I'm like, it's really not a good time, but like, when is, you know what I mean? So it's like, what am I waiting for? You know what I mean? Like, would it have been a good time in 2 years when I was supposed to get the dog? So I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, we're just doing this. So I went down, met the litter, and I was like, yeah, this is absolutely happening. And that's pretty much the story of how we got him, essentially. Met him when he was 4 weeks old, 6 weeks old, something like that. Tiny little ball of meat. Adorable little thing.
So cute.
So cute. And I tried to go down there as much as I could just to like hang out with the litter and, get them used to me as much as I could.
That's nice too.
Yeah. And we weren't sure which one we were going to get. There was 4 in the litter and I wanted a boy and it was between 2 other boys. And they were like, we're not sure which one we're going to pick for you yet. And I was like, that's fine. I wanted the other one that I didn't get, but I'm of course happy with Druid right now.
Of course.
And I think that the breeder made a good pairing for sure because that dog went to a co-owned home. He's going to be like a show dog and like a stud. And he's just a lot more chill and just like a classic, like really good pet dog. And Druid's definitely a little more spicy. I mean, probably because I perhaps made him that way a little bit maybe, but because I was like, I kind of want some spice. Like I want him to be like a rambunctious little puppy. Like I don't want to entirely squash him right now. So like be a puppy. I don't really care. So, but no, I think the breeder made a really good choice for sure. Pairing the dogs off.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's how we got Druid. He's 8 months old. He'll be 9 months old on the 19th, and you wouldn't know it. He's huge, but
yeah. How much does he weigh?
I want to say around like 110 right now. I'm not sure. The last time we weighed him, it was like 98, and that was maybe like a month and a half ago. Okay. And we don't have a scale big enough for him at my house, but we used to pick him up and then just subtract the weight, but that's not happening anymore. So
he's very impressive looking.
Yeah, he's a beautiful dog for sure.
Yeah.
There's no question about that, but yeah, he's having a lot of fun with him.
I didn't get to interact with him much, but I was like, wow, he's just, because I always, I stalk you on Instagram and all that, and I follow him, his own Instagram page.
You got to make one, of
cool
course.
Like that, and I was like, oh, the pictures don't really do him justice.
Yeah, he looks a lot smaller in the photos, and like his head was very like small and narrow for a while. But again, it's hard to forget how young he is, honestly, because you look at him and you're like, that's a full-grown dog.
Right.
But then you look at like an actual full-grown Swissy and you're like, oh, never mind. So it's so even like me still, I'm like, oh yeah, like you're a baby still, essentially. Like, I mean, not baby, but like you're still very young. So, and his head was like a little small for a bit, but now it's filling out. And like when he just sits in certain ways, I'm just like, okay, yeah, like you're going to be a monster. But yeah, he's a lot for sure. But I've been loving every second of it.
That's great.
Even the annoying parts when he's just, again, like flipping me the bird because he's just a hormonal teenager right now. I'm like, yep, par for the course. I knew this was coming.
Yeah, when I saw him like come in and start sniffing everything, I'm like, yep, looks like an intact male to me.
Yeah, exactly.
It is nice to see how all dogs grow, but nothing grows in size like a dog who you don't spay or neuter. And when I look at old pictures of Buddha, man, I don't think he stopped growing until like 5 years old.
Yeah.
If you look at his pictures, like his chest, he just gets wider and bigger and like more grizzly bear-like. I know that you're going to see that with Druid because he's such a massive animal. And I've worked with a lot of Greater Swiss Mountain Dogs. and he's probably one of the largest ones I've seen.
Yeah.
So I like seeing them grow and like their head grow and I liked watching on Instagram from just basic obedience to him getting more freedom in the yard and hanging out with your other dog. I like seeing how dogs just become, like one of the family as they move on. So I really liked seeing him and the other one canoodling and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that stuff.
I mean, first and foremost, he's my friend. Yeah, and my family member, and hang out in the house. We have a small house. You've been there. It's a tiny little place, but yeah. And that was like the first thing. I was like, okay, well, like him and Wally, they have to get along, of course. And Wally's not an aggressive or mean dog at all. But
what is Wally?
He
For everyone that doesn't know.
Yes, he is my other dog, 3-year-old rescue dog. We did the DNA test. It came back mainly American Bulldog, Pit, and Lab were the top 3. I forget the exact percentages, but with some Boxer thrown in there and Chow Chow, of course, because that's always in there somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Chihuahua.
or how. Yeah. And I don't know where the Chow comes from. But so that's Wally. Good guy. Pretty average rescue dog. A little nervous about things, but
he seems generally a nice fella.
He's as good as I want him to be. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Same as all of us.
Yeah.
Nice dog. Little nervous at times.
Sure, yeah. But they're good friends, despite Druid, again, being, a big bully now because, again, adolescence. But, yeah. So happy about that. And he gets along with my cat just fine. Hasn't met, there's no strangers to him, just friends he hasn't met yet. So big friendly guy. Gets along great with dogs. A little too much at times. Just very excitable reactivity, I guess you would call it. Just really wants to go see and check out what other dogs are doing, whether it's on walk or at my daycare. But whenever I bring him to daycare, which is not often, but I'm trying to do it more now just so he doesn't lose his shit at dogs, just excitement wise. He does great. He walks up, might be a little rude at first, and then he gets told off and he's like, oh, what if I do a play bow and I look silly and I chase and you want to run and play? And like, he does really well with that. So, and I want him to learn from other play styles and other dogs. And, he's doing great with that. So I honestly really have no complaints with him at the moment. So
that's great. It was great to see your play sequence with him too.
That was probably the most I've ever seen him into it today.
Yeah.
So, and like I told you, like we've been working on that a lot lately and it's been going really well, but today he was very into it.
Yeah.
So that was good.
To me, it's hard to train. It's hard to train this type of obedience that we like to see with dogs if they don't have that play drive or just that willingness to work. So I think that seeing that with such a large breed, like a little bit more of an independent minded dog was really nice to see.
Yeah.
Because you can use that for training other things. And sometimes it's hard, if you have like a guardian breed type of dog to get them super jazzed up about playing, but he was really into it.
Yeah,
looked
definitely.
Great.
Yeah. So can't wait to go home and practice what we even learned this morning.
Yeah.
He was super into it. So that was good.
That was him barking
right now.
Oh.
No.
Earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I was out front. I wasn't there. And I was cleaning the leaves. I'm like, ooh, they're partying back there. Because I heard them.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
He wanted to keep playing.
I figured you had the tug toys.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
And we were like, nope, all done. And he's like, fuck you. I want to keep playing.
It's still good that he's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's loud. He's very loud.
I thought it was all right. Yeah. You're playing.
Yeah.
That's the one time the barking, I don't get appalled by.
Yeah.
If they're partying, that's your jam.
He likes to party, that's for sure. Yeah.
I have a funny story about a Greater Swiss Mountain Dog that's like completely unrelated, but I was walking 2 dogs in the woods in the springtime, and I was looking up this hill, and there was a woman, and she had maybe 4 dogs. Looked like a dog walker, but it was funny because she looked like a Kardashian. She had like Lululemons on and like big shades and like black hair pulled back in like a tight ponytail. And I was like, she doesn't look as disheveled as a normal dog walker, but
like me, you can say it.
Like me, got my vest on, my crazy hat, like. So anyway, I have one dog off the leash. Then I had Winnie, who was on the leash because she gets really spooked when dogs run up on us. And all of a sudden, this Greater Swiss Mountain Dog came running up on us. And this dog was gorgeous. Like adult, like neck, just huge neck, huge muzzle, huge head. And I'm familiar with the breed, so I wasn't like freaked out because I was like, he's probably just a friendly dog. Had like a big, like thick collar on. Like obviously somebody cares about this animal too, you know, like one of those, you know, those collars that they get with the little elephant emblems on them for Greater Swiss Mountain Dogs. You know what I'm talking about?
Elephant emblem, no.
Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about, Laurie?
Yeah, because Mark has them for all of his dogs.
Yeah, you should look into it because I don't know if they're like from Switzerland or something, but they're these thick leather collars and they have gold emblems on them, and he had one on. So I was like, okay, and this woman was like far away, so I'm like, okay, please call your dog, because my one dog was like totally cool, but the one that I had on the flexi was like freaking out. And she didn't say anything. She just kept walking kind of towards me down this hill. And I was like, oh, this is weird. So I said again, I'm like, please, like, call your dog. Nothing. And I was like, please, just call your dog. And she goes, I'm not really sure what you mean. And I'm like, just say his name and be excited and call him so like he comes back to you. And she was just like, hey. I'm like, oh my Lord. I'm like, this lady doesn't know this dog's name.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? I was just like, and he did like go back to her, but I was so miffed because I was just like, oh shit, like maybe this is a dog walker and she legit like doesn't know this dog's name and isn't like, and she thought I was trying to trick her by saying like, call your dog. You know, and I was trying to think about it and I was like, well, we say call your dog all the time, but maybe I was saying it really fast and it sounded like I was asking her to do something that she had no idea what to do, but I was just shaking my head. I'm like, oh my God, like what was going on? And I was like, I hope I never see her again. And I haven't, but the only thing I could think of was maybe she was a dog walker helping a friend out and like just picked up a bunch of dogs that she didn't know. And the owner was like, yeah, he does great off leash. And she's like, all right, I'm going to let him off the leash. Because she had like 2 off the leash and 2 on the leash. And man, I was just like, that's hit a new low for me.
Yeah. Don't even know the dog's name or anything.
Yeah.
Hey.
I don't understand what you mean. I'm like, just say his name excitedly so he comes back to you.
Yeah.
Like,
quick dog training lesson.
Yeah, or not. I was just like, get away from me, please.
I know. I love that Leah explained it. You're going to call your dog. You're going to be excited.
Yeah.
You're going to...
Like, Jesus.
And then they run to you, hopefully, is what happened.
That's the ideal picture.
And not to mention, like, humongous dog.
Yeah.
Like, very intimidating looking.
Totally.
Like, if I didn't know dogs, I would be scared.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already scary, even if I do know dogs, you know, but he was a beautiful animal. Just big head, big neck.
I was teaching a class yesterday and saying, like, calling a dog excitedly. And I love working recall because I get to act stupid and happy and run around, and I can let go of all my neurotic behaviors that I carry on daily. And I tend to use the best food the dog's ever tasted when I do a recall. I had this class come in, and I said I really love the little girls. I think they're really nice handlers, much more than the parents. And I usually find that kids are sometimes better with the dogs than parents are. And I was like, be excited. And I'm going to lie about the dog's name. But Frank, come here. And I'm like, run backwards. And they're not running. They're not running backwards. They're not moving. They're depressed. It was like a Saturday morning. I'm like, if I'm putting out, you can put out.
Totally.
I was like, but I'm like, be excited, Frank. It was a tough class.
Yeah.
Like Leah just looked at me. She's like, how did that go? I'm not talking about it. Run backwards.
Frank didn't do great.
Yay. Like every time you're happy, the dog comes running over.
Yeah.
Ah.
That can be tough.
It's hard for people to get their goofy on, I think.
It is. Yeah. Especially, on display.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even
let your freak flag fly.
Yeah. even like a private lesson, if I'm like working play or something, I'm like, be as stupid and silly as you want. I'm like, no one cares. Nobody's judging. No one's watching. Your dog's going to just think this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it can be a little, even for me sometimes, right? But I mean, if you look at me in my backyard, you'd be like, what the fuck is that guy doing? But if the dog's having fun and I'm having fun, who cares?
Yep.
That's really all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, people can feel a little uncomfortable on display for sure.
But if we're behaving in that manner,
Right.
wouldn't you just be like, all right.
Yeah, screw it. They're
yeah,
doing it.
They're doing it.
Yeah.
But they don't. And I'm like, I know that I can be serious sometimes in a class, but I also know that I look like a nut job.
Yeah.
So why can't we all just get it going?
I know. I think people are cooped up.
Mm.
I think people are cooped up and we don't, act like that. So doing it, like Alex was saying, on display, I think is tough. But again, I try to be animated so people feel a little bit more comfortable. I think I'm way more serious than you are in classes. It's something I have to work on, I think, letting loose a little bit more. But no, when you have a puppy class, I mean, I'm like, oh my God, is everything okay out there? Because
I'm like,
it's so noisy. I'm like, yay, you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's all I hear when Laurie's
especially if they're
working
like,
with a puppy.
yeah, because they just follow me.
Yeah.
If you're excited, they just follow you. You don't have
Yeah.
to work as hard. If you're just swimming in mud the whole time, the dog will start veering off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. And I do find that not that this is supposed to be specifically about dog training stuff, but if you think about when a puppy like grabs something they're not supposed to have, and then all of a sudden you as the owner start acting like you never act,
Mm-hmm.
like running around trying to chase them, grabbing at the thing, yelling,
Yep.
being as fun as you've ever been in your entire life. The dog's like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So thinking about it from that perspective is, I think, super important. Because I heard you in that class too, and the first thing you guys talked about was like, well, she steals stuff, and then like we can't get it away from her. And it's like, yeah, because that's like the funnest you ever are.
Yeah. Your average dog owner is really good at training things they don't want in manners exactly like that. Like you said, like they don't really care about what the dog is doing until they have the TV remote or their expensive shoes or whatever. And then you make the biggest deal about it. And the dog's like, oh, shit. That was awesome. I'm going to do more of that. And then you get the call and they're like, I just want him to stop doing this. And it's like, well, we have to figure something else out because that was way too much fun for the dog, and do that with a toy and you're golden. But yeah, it can be difficult for sure.
It can be hard for people to wrap their minds around that.
Yeah. I heard a quote one time. I forget who said it. It was a couple years ago. And it was just like, anybody could be a good dog trainer as long as they're willing to look totally ridiculous in public. And I was just like, that's
great.
That's pretty true. That's
Yeah.
pretty dang true. So follow that.
I struggle with it too. Like when I have Raven out and we're doing obedience, like I'll bring her over to her wayside, and I really have to like shut out all of the other people that are probably staring at us.
Yeah.
Because unavoidably, I draw a crowd. Even if it's just a couple of people, like, what are they doing over there? And I just
Right.
have to completely shut it out, keep working with her, keep my focus on her, and only really worry about it if someone actually walks up to us, which they do.
I have no problem shutting out anyone if I'm with the dog.
I don't doubt that for a second. Yeah.
Because it's just it's a much more peaceful experience than just dealing with. Because I feel like everything turns dark, like when you're watching a TV show and everything turns dark and it's just you and that person or like a spotlight. That's how I feel if I'm working with a puppy. Even if I'm in a private class, I forget about the parents that are there.
Oh my, yeah. I've done that before.
It's
I'm like,
so
I haven't
nice.
spoken to them in 2 minutes. I should probably say something. Whoops. But for the dog, that's what you want though.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah, totally. Have you had any challenges, Alex, recently in your business or with dogs, like any stumpers?
Or Druid.
Any stumpers? Not quite. Nothing that has no stumpers. What I'm seeing a lot of lately, for whatever reason, on the topic of recall and such, is people want a lot of recall, but they only want to do it when the dog is doing something fun and they want to take it away from that fun, whether it be, loose in the yard, barking at another dog, chasing a squirrel, something like that. Like, I just want it to come inside. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay.
you're right.
I'm like, okay, fine. Like, let's work the recall. Like, start inside, throw a treat, whatever. Like, have them come, basic shit. And like, but I just want them to come inside. And I'm like, yes, I understand the problem, but like, this is how we get there. And then having to explain to people, I've given this lecture, like, it seems like 100 times in the past 2 weeks. Like, you're recalling your dog to take them away from something fun. And then that's why a recall is not good anymore. Like, whatever it might be, like taking you away from playing with, the grandson, or coming inside, chasing the squirrel, or whatever. And the dogs figured it out that every time you call me, I might come, but then you just end everything. So the next time it happens, they read the play and they're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And I don't know why, but I've been getting so much of that lately for whatever reason.
You're right.
We
get it all the time.
Yeah.
I do all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to end his fun, so when I call his name, he never comes to me. And I was like, well, you just said it.
Exactly.
It's like, you ignore the dog, you're like, go outside, sniff, I'm exhausted. And then the only time they call them is when it's all over. So usually I have the parents practice recalling over and over, like multiple times back into the house, and then letting them back out again. Yeah, they get to go back out again. The dog's like, no way. I can't believe we're going back out again. I was like, but you have to average it into your schedule so you're not like pressed for time.
Right.
But I remember I used to put dogs back in the car and then open up my little element again and then let them run back out. They're like, yes.
Yeah.
They were so excited.
Yeah.
I was like, get in, we're going home. And then I open the door back up again. Such a loser. I'm a loser.
Yeah, but it works though. I had to
works.
do that with Olive, one of my favorite dogs to walk, but she does not want to get back in the car after a hike. No. She does not like that. She just sits there like a bump on a log. Well, she used to. And I did that trick a couple of times and it really worked. It really, really did. But just, like changing up the routine, I think is really important. And also seeing things from the dog's perspective. Oh, my fun's ending.
Yeah.
Rather than just seeing it from the first person and being like, well, this is what I want.
Right.
And like you said, taking a few steps backwards and working when it's less distracting or when there's less, there's less fun for a dog, and then opening up the fun again once they comply with the command. It's just like seeing things from their perspective a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what I always try to do. I'm like, think of it from their point of view. They're out there having a great time. You call them and maybe they have decent recall and they're like, great, here we go. And then you're like, cool, no reward, and your fun is over. And then you do that like 2 or 3 times and the dog again reads the play and they're like, no, I'm barking at the squirrel again. You want me to come? Last time that happened, the fun ended. You didn't give me shit. And then you just left. And they're like, wow, yeah, you're right. I'm like, just put yourself in their shoes and look at it from their point of view.
Totally.
But yeah.
So you're my prize. That's it. Great.
Right. And then the door shuts and the person walks away and goes back to the computer or whatever. The dog's like, what the fuck was that?
We're not that close yet.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason, that's what I'm getting a lot of lately. So. Yeah,
I've had a similar, not problem, but people who really want to do off-leash obedience, but they're currently not doing any off-leash obedience. And it's like, and they want to add the tools. So they want to add, the electric collar. And like I said this on the last episode that we did, but I usually don't add that tool until the dog's like about 1, like give or take, depending on the dog. And I think a lot of it is fear-based. Like they don't want to bring their dog out in public because they're worried, oh my God, what if something happens and I don't have control? And that's where like the long line comes in and things of that nature. And the question that I always ask people when they say, well, I want to be able to hike with my dog, I'm always like, well, how much do you hike now?
Right.
Like how much do you hike without them? Is going out on a walk an enjoyable experience for you? And then adding the dog kind of adds to that. And I would say like 5 times out of 10, these people aren't hiking at all. Right. It's not even something that they enjoy doing. I'm like, well, we can train your dog to do this, but if you don't like doing it already, it probably isn't gonna change, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
Like that's perfectly fine. But I think that that's something that we have to do, like leading up to, like I talked to a woman yesterday, she hikes all the time and her dog's 7 months and she really wants to, add the e-collar for recall, and we're just really busy around here in the woods, and I don't even know how regular people do it, to be honest with you. But I was like, all right, we need to get out there without it and see how things are going with just like the long line. And we did a little lesson after our group lesson, and it was great because she was like, all right, I totally know what I need to do now. But yeah, I see people wanting to add the tools for an idea of something that they want to do with their dog, but it's not actually something that they like to do.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
So or they'll be like, well, I'm scared of the woods. I'm like, okay, well, that's a problem.
Right. Yeah, so maybe we don't hike in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
Just think of something else.
I have a few dog walking clients that are completely trained, absolutely love being off the leash, and their parents are just terrified of the woods.
Yeah.
And they never go on hikes with and I'm fine with that,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. And if they ever came to me and was like, hey, I really want to try, I would be totally willing to try with them. But yeah, I can think of like 3 of my dog walking clients that hike with me and don't hike with their parents ever.
We have a lot of families with vacation homes, so we have a lot of beach dogs now.
Mm-hmm.
I just want my dog to run free on the beach.
Yeah.
I went to the beach once with Buddha. That was enough for me.
Yeah.
There's like so many dogs just racing up to us, and I was like, this is not my jam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we went the second week of the pandemic. That's when we went to the beach.
Yeah.
It was crazy. There were people that were so far away from their dogs, and their dogs were just, I'm talking like hundreds of yards.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is, I would never let my...
It was the worst for me. I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Here, Leah and I are trying to have like an afternoon. And I was like, that was nice, honey. We're never going to do that
Let's
again.
go get ice cream and never do
it's
this
like,
again.
It's like sometimes I don't even have to speak. She just looks at me and it's like, we're all set now.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in a coastal town with like 5 or 6 beaches. I grew up like 5 minutes from the beach. So the beach is not my thing. I don't really care for it. I've brought my dogs there before, but yeah, it can be a lot. It's just the people, the trash you leave behind, the dogs, seagulls. You're just like, no, I'm good. The sand, salt, all reasons for me to not go.
When you see a dog like run up and then lift their leg on people's stuff too.
Yeah, their umbrella or
their
the cooler or whatever.
Cooler.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal, I know.
It's terrible.
Yeah. You said that to me. Did you go to a beach or someone told us a story?
Oh, I just see it all the time.
Yeah.
Even if I swear I see a dog do it every time. The times that I am
Both
there.
times you went to the beach.
Yeah, the 2 times this year that I ventured off. Yeah, or I remember working with people over at I used to work for Pet Edge, and her little dog used to just go up to everyone. She's like, the tank is empty, because a lot of dogs just lift their leg and nothing comes out. I'm like, still.
Yeah.
Still shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, still. Yeah.
Little rude.
There's so many places to pee, yet he ran up to that woman laying in the sun.
That's not great.
Nope.
Then you picture the older ladies that have like those frilly bathing suits on and they're burned like crispy.
Yeah.
Like they don't even get any kind of original color back. They're just permanently toasted. That's what the big glasses.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Big hat.
Yeah. Wading out to the water. Sorry. Okay.
Is that going to be you, Laurie?
No. I hope not. Can you? Yeah. Me with a frilly bathing suit. Yes. Yes.
A little skort.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'd sooner die.
Mm-hmm.
A little strip of sunscreen on the nose.
Yes. Rub it in. No, I won't. And I don't mind the woods as long as it's the daytime. I was like, pushing leaves like I've been doing every day. I was in the back. I had no light. It's already 5 o'clock, so that's like 18 p.m. It's so dark.
18 p.m.
So I'm out in the back and I'm blowing the leaves. I'm like, there is no friggin' way I'd go camping. Like I have a leaf blower and I could just walk right back into my yard. But there's like I'm going to go down this cliff. I said to Leah when I walked back in, I go, I am never fucking camping. I said, I'm in the back of that. And I'm like, I'm going to die. Something back here. City girls die in the woods. The back of there is the woods. It was so dark.
And you have a leaf blower. No coyote is going to come near you with a leaf blower.
I know, but still, it's just not I don't want to be not seeing, like you can't even see 6 feet in front of you. I'm not going camping.
Are you a camper, Alex?
I mean, I will go camping. I haven't in a while though.
Yeah.
It's
Tent
I
on the
love
ground?
idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I've done
That's
that.
real camping.
Yeah. I mean, it was at like campgrounds. I didn't like go off into the woods somewhere and just, pitch a tent.
Mhm.
But I would, and I want to.
All right. You
Actually.
take pictures.
I will.
I'll live vicariously
Yeah.
through you.
There's something I want to do with Druid. There's a sport called pack hiking where you put a backpack on your dog and you fill it with, I think, like 10-15% of their body weight, and you go for like a 10-mile hike. And there's a few ways you can do it, actually. You can do a 10-mile hike just straight through. You can do an 8-mile hike one day and then an 8-mile hike again the next day. Or you can do, this probably sounds good for you, Lori, you could do a 5-mile hike, camp overnight, and then do another 5-mile hike when you wake up.
No, I'm doing 10.
Yeah.
I'm going back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm getting back to safe land.
That sounds fun.
It sounds really fun.
Oh, Leah
It
can
sounds
go
really
with you.
cool.
No,
yeah.
I'm not going. I'm just saying it sounds fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You wouldn't do it?
So would you put like all the camping equipment in the dog's
You can
pack
put
and stuff like
No,
that?
you can only put a little bit of weight.
15% of Druid's body weight is
It's a
going to
lot.
be
Not
like
bad,
30
yeah.
pounds.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure on the rules and everything, but you can put like, whatever they might need, like water, treats, things like that. And you can like decrease it as the walk goes on. If you're like, oh, they need water, take out some water and
Yeah, they
pour
drink
it
the
out.
water.
Yeah, yeah. And then do good that way. But it seems like a lot of fun. I do definitely want to try that out.
That would be really good too for fitness for
Totally.
both animals.
Yeah, 10 miles is no joke.
Nope.
That's a lot.
Especially if you're carrying all your camping gear.
Exactly. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'll be fun. They had that event at the Swissy Specialty last month when I went, and that was like the first thing. I think only like a handful of people did it, but it was still very cool to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you just went to a seminar too last weekend?
Yeah, yeah. The J-Jack, I don't know what he calls it, one. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Talk a
Really
little bit
fun.
about that.
So went with a few members of the GRC club, South Shore GRC, and we just went and watched him do his thing. I've never been to a J-Jack seminar. I've, listened to a few podcasts and, do GRC, of course. So that's some of it, but never actually really like worked with it. Not that I worked with him, seen him work or anything like that, but it was very, very good. And like all the things I've heard about like him, as a teacher and dog trainer and stuff, like I saw it all firsthand and I was like, oh shit, like this guy does make so much sense of just like the clearest ways he puts things together.
Cool.
So it was great. And even though I didn't have a working spot or anything, even just the stuff I learned from that, as soon as I got back home with Druid, started working on it, and immediately our play was just much better and much more clear. And it was a really good time for sure.
Yeah. So what was the focus of the seminar?
Just about like his like windows and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and like how he uses play essentially to just like for whatever you might need, problem solve or whatever, even if you just want to play with your dog. And all the working spots there were very different things for sure. Some people wanted to work on personal play. Others wanted to like work on like their chill window and all that. So it was a really good time. I don't think there's really like a focus on like one thing. It was just like, this is how I train. And this is like the first like half of the day was just like theory, and then work some dogs. Second half of the day, again, like theory, work some dogs. But it was really cool. We had
That's
a really good
awesome.
time. Yeah, it was just, again, the way he just describes things, you're like, that just makes so much sense. Like, how have I not thought of that before?
Mm-hmm.
Just very simple things like what I've been doing a lot with Druid is just like the handicap of like the toy. Like rather than like, even though he's a giant dog, like I could just hold on to that handle, and like if I hold on to it strong enough, he's not gonna be able to steal that from me, even though he's huge. It's like, okay, if I just handicap myself and like just use like my fingers and he tugs it from me and actually wins it, like now I have to use like strategy to get it from him instead of just being like, let me just, rip this out of your mouth or whatever. Like that's not fun for him.
Right.
So for me to find like, ooh, like he let go of his grip there. If I just tug
Steal it.
yeah, if I steal it right there, then he's like, holy shit. And then like gets really excited about it. And I run away with it. And he's like, you're not going to get away from me. And just using that. And like I said, the first day after we got home, I just did that like when we woke up, and I was like, that was already so much better than any of the play we've ever done.
Right.
And you could just see him being like, oh, like you're actually playing now. Like you're not just trying to like use this for like whatever the fuck I was even using it for before. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
We're already going to go again next year, I think, if he's got one. And I'm definitely going to try and sign up for a working spot with Druid just to I mean, it's a year
Try
from
it
now. Yeah, just to try it out. Don't even know what I would be, asking to do in the working spot, but still going to try and get one.
Yeah, he'll be a monster by then if you keep working with him like you are.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, that was a really good time. It was fun to go with the club, hang out, and just chill with everybody.
Did you camp out there?
No. I
Okay.
got an Airbnb, tiny little studio apartment, which I didn't realize was a studio apartment until I unlocked the door.
Sure.
And I was like, there is not enough room for a Swissy and a crate in here. But because I did bring him, I brought Druid just because. Well, I wasn't going to. And then Autumn, my friend Autumn, you've interviewed her before.
Mm-hmm.
She convinced me to bring him because she wasn't going to take the working. She signed up for a working spot with her dog, and she was going to give it up. And I was like, no, you should definitely keep it, because she thought she knew how to solve the problem. And I was like, even if you think you should still keep it and just go, it'd be good. She was like, yeah, you're right. And she was like, well, then you should bring Druid. If you're going to convince me to keep my working spot, you should bring Druid. And I was like, fair enough. All right, fair. So I brought him just to hang out and get used to a dog type seminar environment.
Yeah.
Because I want to be doing more stuff like that with them. And that requires a lot of travel and him doing a lot of nothing, unfortunately, sometimes. So it was good.
I agree.
Yeah, just to get used to that environment. But it was good because we went to the Swissy specialty the week before that, which was an insanely stressful environment for dogs. That was my first AKC event type thing, a national specialty at that. And even just standing there, while the rally and everything's going on, I was like, I'm stressed out just standing here. I can't even imagine the dog. And then if I was about to go in the ring, I was like, holy shit, this is just so much right now. All the dogs were incredible, but it was just damn, you think and then you go there and you're like, I didn't know at all what this was like.
Mm-hmm.
AKC events are stressful.
Wild. So wild.
So many dogs, so many handlers, so much noise and crates, and it's a circus.
Seriously.
Go to Springfield. You'll just die.
Okay, I will.
It has to be one of the most... I mean, I do well there, and I think it's better if it's noisy for me.
Mm.
The quiet places, I tend to lose Buddha's attention a little bit more, but if you want to work your dog, let me tell you, go to a dog show and you will see how exhausted your dog is at the end of the day just from being there.
Yeah.
I mean, we would come home from competitions and he would just pass out.
Totally. Yeah, we brought both of our dogs and my breeder was there too. And they had 3 whole days of just showing, confirmation showing, which I thought, I knew there was going to be some showing, but I didn't realize it was going to be 3 whole damn days of it. So it was a lot. It was just so much. And I'm like, I don't even know, I thought we already did this category, but you're making stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're making stuff up.
I was like, oh, sure. I was like, didn't we just do this? But I'm not into the show world at all. And I'm asking my breeder all these questions and she's answering them. And I'm like, uh-huh. I'm nodding yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm like, I don't know.
Did you participate?
No.
In anything? No?
No. I was going to maybe try CGC. And then when I saw the environment, CGC, I saw the environment and I was like, there's no way. I was like, this isn't going to happen. I was like, I'm just going to hang and just watch it. But I did
CGC evaluator. I can help you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I do want to do that with them for sure. And I was going to try it out there, but that was a hell of an environment for sure.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're fine. I sat ringside with my breeder and my fiance, and I brought Druid out, and we just sat there and watched. He actually did incredible. I thought he was going to just lose his mind, but he just sat there like a good boy and just watched the world go by, and I just had some food, and I was just feeding them, and I was like, damn, he's actually doing great. And I was like, we've obviously never practiced this. And I was like, I wonder if his just breeding and genetics are coming in. And he was just like, this just feels right to me. Just sitting here watching all these dogs run in circles. But yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised with him. And he loves seeing the breeder again. It's really cool when
that's nice.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, he hasn't seen her since 8 weeks old, but he just caught one whiff and he's like, I know you, and he just gets so excited, and I was like, that's cool to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was fun, and they of course love him and love up on him. He's jumping on them and being so rude, and they were like, oh, I don't care, and I'm like, whatever, do it. Which he never jumps on us, not because we didn't ask him, we didn't train that out of him. He just isn't really a jumper. But it was just cool to see. He just got, like I said, one whiff, and he was just like, I instantly know who you two are. And it was just really cool to see.
That's great.
Yeah. Some of his litter mates were there. His sister was there and his brother was there. They won something. I'm not quite sure. And there's so many categories. I was just like, okay, good. They're like, we won like best reserves, winners, opposite bitch female. And I'm
yes, I have no idea what that
I'm
means.
like, that's great. You won.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, but that was a really cool time.
Yeah, it's important to kind of uphold the breed standards. So the specialty shows are really good.
I've learned a lot, even just watching just all the Swissies there and just seeing it all. There's a lot of cool events. They had the pack hike, like we talked about, the drafting, which I want to do Druid. I want to train Druid in that. I was a steward for that, and I got to see kind of like the whole trial at once. That's not an easy test at all.
Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. So again, not that I know much about it. So from the test that I saw, there's 3 separate parts. You have to do like some kind of like obstacle course type thing, like as if like the dog was like still doing its original job that it was bred for, whenever the hell that was. So like Swissies originally bred to like pull carts from like the farmer's market, like to and from the market to like, they were called like the poor man's horse. So you could like hitch them up to a wagon and like, let's go to the market. We got to get milk to the market. So it's like an obstacle course they have to do. And then there's
pulling a cart. Course. Okay, very good.
Yep. And then there's like a 3-minute downstay with all the dogs that are doing it. And then there's a freight haul. So the drafting trial itself, I don't really know what it's called, obstacle course we'll call it, was tough. Dogs are hitched to their cart and they had to like walk up to a gate and they had to be put in like a stay, open the gate, come through the gate, close the gate, and then they had to back up 3 feet. And then they had to come over to me. I was just standing there. I was sitting in a chair just like this, and I just had like a bale of hay. And they're supposed to come up to me, put their dog into a sit or whatever they really want. And then they go, do you have something for me? I go, yes, I do. Here you go. And then they take my item, put it in the cart, and they go, okay, let's go. And then they're supposed to do like a right turn, and then they speed up, and then they slow down. This is all, the judge is telling them all this as it's happening. And then do a sharp left turn, and then they had to do a figure 8 around a cone, like both ways, like a right figure 8 and a left figure 8. And then they had to go through these narrows that are like a couple inches wider than the cart. And then they come back to me and I unload. They give me the item. I take it and then I go, can I pet your dog? And they go, yes. And I just give them a couple strokes under the chin and then they leave the ring. And if at any point the dog's cart or the dog touches anything, immediate NQ.
Oh, wow.
So it's very difficult. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, holy crap. Like I didn't realize this was all this. But
that's a lot for a dog to do with a cart behind them. Figure 8s with a cart behind them?
Yeah, not easy. And one team had what's called a brace where there's 2 dogs doing it at once, pulling the same cart. That was not easy at all. And then once that's complete, if you pass that, you go to the 3-minute downstay where all the dogs are next to each other doing a downstay for 3 minutes. And you can't tell them like good or anything like that. You're supposed to just say like down. They stay there and you just stare at them for 3 minutes.
We're familiar with that.
Yeah. Just 3 minutes of everybody just
like
staring.
20 fucking years. You're like,
There's complete awkward silence. And then you go for a mile-long walk, like to and fro. And I was like, wow, it was a lot. Some people were doing it on leash and off leash, like depending on like the level you're at.
Okay.
And yeah, it was insane. Some dogs were incredible at it for sure. I was a steward. So like during the freight haul, I was like supposed to follow like one team just to, like for safety reasons. Like if a deer came out and the dog started running or something like that, like there's more people to like stop the dog and make sure they're safe. And I'm walking with this woman and I'm like, this dog is so good. He's just trotting along. He's just like, yep, I know exactly what I'm doing. And I'm talking to her. I'm like, wow, he's doing incredible. She's like, oh, thanks. He's really good. Like we do this like, every day for exercise. And I was like, oh, have you owned Swissies for a while? She goes, no, this is my first dog.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, wow. I was like, how old is he? She was like,
nice.
3. I was like, cool. I go, you've been practicing drafting for a long time? She goes, just a month. I was like, get the fuck out. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, you could have fooled me. Like, this dog's like a master drafter. He's crushing it right now. And he was just so good, so happy to be doing it. And I was like, this is amazing. I said to her, I was like, this is like probably the most impressive thing I've seen like since. And she's like, thank you. I was like, you could have fooled me. Your first dog and you've only been drafting for a month. It's insane.
Yeah. He liked it.
He loved it.
Yeah.
You could just see. He was like, this is just what I was meant to do. Mm-hmm. And just like that instinctual feel to just be like, something just tells me pulling a cart feels good. Mm-hmm. And he was just happy as could be to do it.
Now, do you have a cart for Druid?
No, not yet, because there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not quite sure how old he has to be.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be older than 8 months, that's for sure. And like, I kind of purposely haven't delved into it too much right now because I know I'll just be like, okay, let's get started. And then if I start doing lessons with somebody, they're going to be like, okay, the exact opposite of everything you've done. You know what I mean? So I haven't gotten too much into it. And like, I really want to take like lessons with somebody that knows what they're doing so that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, I could hitch him up to a cart or whatever and just start pulling, but like, is that right? You know what I mean? I have no idea.
Absolutely.
So just want to make sure I'm doing it right. But no, I don't have a cart yet. Definitely want to get one soon and just get them used to it and whatnot. But yeah, there's another breeder in Amherst who I met at the specialty. She was really nice, really cool. That I think I'm going to hit her up for some lessons soon, whether it be weight pull or drafting or whatever the hell. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. A totally different dog sport than you normally see, at least, you know, that I normally see. So we'll see.
So is that specialty pretty much it for this area? Like happens once a year, or are there other events?
So yeah, that was like the national. So like people came from all over the country to do that, and it's different it's in a different location every year. It's going to be in Ohio next year.
Okay.
And
so you just lucked out that it was so close.
It was in Vermont. Yeah. So I got very lucky. That's why I was like, we're doing this because I mean, I might go next year, maybe not. We'll see. But that's a hike. So
yeah, Ohio is a hike.
Yeah, but it was really cool. It was really cool. They had the drafting, the weight pull. It was intense for sure.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
When they're going through the obstacle course, where's the handler?
With them the whole time. Next to them the whole time.
Are they in a heel position?
No.
So they're just like
Just
walking next to the dog. They don't have to be on the left. They don't have to be on the right. You're kind of just guiding from wherever.
I think so. I might be speaking out of turn, but there was definitely no like heel or anything like that.
Okay,
like,
so the dog didn't have to walk on your left. You could be, but you couldn't be behind the dog.
Probably not.
As a handler.
Yeah. And
you're
like
leading.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even going through the narrows, like you have to go through the narrows with your dog, and even if you touch the narrows, you're out. So like it's
really
Yep. And like they kept in between dogs, they kept like going and measuring it because they measure the carts first, and then they go and measure the narrows because it's obviously got to be wide enough the dog can actually get
they
through
measure
it.
The person.
Yeah. What if your booty knocks it over?
Yeah. So it was crazy to see for sure, and some of those dogs are very, very impressive.
All right.
But
that was my. Yeah.
I bet you Buddha could do that.
Totally. Cart
pulling.
I think he could do. He's a good guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not just a Swissy thing. This is all, you know.
Oh yeah, all breeds.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know that Swissies did weight pulling.
Yeah, actually,
but
world record for weight pulling is a Swissy.
Really?
Yeah. On a cart, he's got like 9,000 pounds, and on rails, he's got like 11,000. It's insane.
Man,
that's crazy.
He was there actually, and I volunteered for the weight pull too. And I was the breaker, the person that like, you know, stops the cart once they get past the line so it doesn't ram into the dog. And that was cool to see. And his name is Desi. Insanely impressive dog. He got up and he just knew exactly what to do. The cart was maybe at like 4,000 or 5,000 pounds, and just with ease, this dog was just like, yup, 6 seconds, easy.
I know this is ridiculous. In my head, I'm picturing like a Hulk Hogan outfit on the dog, and like
I love that.
And like the warmers.
Yeah.
Imagine he comes out with a headband
and
on,
a boa,
and the music starts playing.
Yes.
He's got the weight pull. Sorry. This is where my head goes.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a wrestling fan, so that's perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He has a theme song when he comes out.
Yeah, definitely.
I would totally do it up.
I'm going to do that with Druid for sure. If we get into weight pull, he's
Some
going to be
face
Hulk Hogan.
paint.
Yep.
You know, maybe pull an Ultimate Warrior thing.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Rip the shirt off. Yeah. But yeah, it was crazy. Those dogs are pulling some serious weight.
That's cool.
It's like this big cart, and you stack like cinder blocks on it. Each time it gets higher and higher, and man, it was intense.
Oh yeah, your dog has to be developed before you do that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I think 100%. They have to be grown.
We got to get those little bones.
Totally. Yeah, that's
solid.
Something I was like, we're not even gonna touch that until like I know he's fully grown and good to go.
Yeah.
And even still, it's like I'm not looking to break world records. Like if he can just pull the cart, I'd be happy. And if we add some weight and he's happy, then I'm happy. But
yeah, I think I'd be that way too.
Yeah, you really have to have a healthy dog.
Totally.
And you have to build like you're a weightlifter. You know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Start low and work your way.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool stuff.
The dogs that like were pulling the serious weight and knew what they were doing, very impressive to watch. And like I said, they would do it in like 5-6 seconds. It's only a couple feet, but still, a couple 1,000 pounds, a couple feet is a lot.
It's a big deal.
Totally.
Especially like if the dog feels resistance or like, oh shit, they have to like work through that. Yeah. One
thing that I noticed a lot of is like some dogs like would pull and like you said, they'd feel that resistance and they would just stop and they'd be like, oh, I don't know what to do. And I noticed a lot of people like once they'd grab the collar, they'd be like, oh, like kick the cart forward. And I'm like, okay, sure. And I do that. And I'm like, okay, how many times do we do this until the dog realizes it, like I'm going to hit the resistance, nothing happens, but every time you touch my collar, the cart magically moves again. So that's kind of where my brain went. And I'm like,
where your dog trainer brain went.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is a trial. So like, I get this isn't like a training session thing, but I was like, you could tell like some of the dogs they'd pull a couple times and they just stop and stare at the owner and be like, touch my collar now so it can move.
Ugh, that's annoying.
Yeah. And like I saw a lot of people doing that and I was like, I'm not saying shit, of course. Like that's not my place to say anything, of course. But yeah, it's something I noticed for sure.
Yeah, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
'Cause you kind of, I mean, you're teaching them to be independent out there, like, but you're constantly cueing them in. So that wasn't an NQ when you would have to cue
that's
the dog
the thing is like you can't touch the dog at all during like the cart pulling. You just have to like encourage them with your voice and all that, and you can be as crazy as you want. You saw that.
Oh my God, that's the video you showed me.
Yeah,
I know.
yes.
I died when I was like,
yeah.
What? I go, are you watching those dogs get those hogs again?
Yeah.
And Leah said, no, it's an AKC event. I was like, somebody shoot me.
Yeah.
The screaming.
It came out a very small woman too. Yeah. Which is fine. But I was like, whoa, I didn't know you could make that. But yeah, so you can clearly be as
cajoling.
Yes. Whatever it takes to get that dog pulling.
Kind of, I guess.
And then you can be like, okay, like she's not doing it, I'm going to NQ. And then they go, okay, like grab the dog and then, pull them through, kick the cart and help out. And yeah. But one thing, again, I noticed a lot of people doing that, but I noticed that the dogs that were pulling serious weight and the people that were there to like, they knew what they're like, you could tell like these people trained for this and they're really good at it. And the dog's really good at it. If the dog didn't pull, they'd be like, well, then you're done. You're not learning that like if you fail, we're going to help you out.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was pretty cool to see like these dogs pulling serious weight that they're like, if they didn't pull it, they'd be like, okay, like we're just going to NQ, no big deal. And they weren't mad at their dog or anything like that, but they weren't going to be like, we're going to show you that if you fail, it's going to work. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
the dog is pulling. Encouragement is allowed.
Yes.
It's not like the owner can have a toy or something in their hand to encourage the dog to go forward. So it's just that screaming.
Yeah. Yeah, you can scream. You can...
Really the most unreal thing I heard.
Yes.
I had no idea what she was watching.
It was crazy. But yeah.
So for context, Alex had shared a video and it was the person that was handling was going bananas trying to get their dog to move forward. And I'm watching it with the audio and Laurie is listening and she goes, are you watching hog hunting videos again? Because like when you watch the hog hunting, the hog is like screaming, like squealing, like they're desperate and the dogs and the whatever. So she thought that's what I was watching. I'm like, no, I'm just watching weight pulling. And she's like, let me see that.
I mean, that lady surely could not speak that night or the following day.
Well,
due to the.
So there was that on Tuesday night or whatever night, and then like 2 days later they had it again, and she was there both times doing So her voice was still in tip-top shape.
Wow, good for her. That's training.
Yeah, it was weird though because like again, I don't want to harp too much on a stranger, but like she would speak in like a very high-pitched like.
We're not. She's gifted, obviously.
Yeah. She would speak at first in like a very like high pitched like fur baby mama voice. She's just like if you average like pet owner, you know what I mean? Just always baby talking their dog. And then she would just on a dime just switch to like an exorcism. And it was just like and you could just see the dog being like, what just happened here? Like, I don't know what you want at all. And then again, she's like, okay, we're gonna NQ, touch the collar, I push the cart, and I'm like, you don't see what's happening with this dog here? Like
some people can't.
Yeah.
We gotta learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. But the dogs that were doing it were very impressive. And the people that were doing it, you could tell like they knew like how to do it. And again, they weren't mad at their dog that they couldn't do it. They're just like, yep, good job. We're going to go over here, just rub you down until you're a good boy. And that's that.
Try again next time.
Yeah, exactly. Try again next time. No big deal.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was fun.
Oh my God, I feel like we've learned a lot about Swissies today, Laurie.
I'm good with that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
There's more behind that handsome face. It's not just looks.
Yeah. He's got a brain in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's doing awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to end
Rappy
this.
Pappy.
Yeah.
Rappy
Alex,
Pappy.
thank you so much for coming up. This has been awesome.
Thank you for the lesson. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was nice to finally meet Druid as well.
Yeah.
All I've seen of him are Instagram videos and pictures
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's good to, it's funny because he's so much bigger than I imagined. And like my dogs, people meet them and they're like, oh, they're so much smaller than I thought they were going to be. So it's good to meet in person. But,
Totally.
well, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you are into what you're hearing, feel free to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends. And you will hear from us next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.